Hi, my name is Seth. I am 21 years old, and I saved over $21,000 using the VroomBrick platform.
All right, Seth. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you do in the Navy?
Yeah. So right now I'm a IT, which is information system technician. I just work on computers and sometimes a little bit of everything when it comes to network and just help desk type stuff for now. But there's different jobs within it if I was ship or shore. So right now I'm a thing called ADP, which is just like
Awesome.
help desk.
Awesome. What made you want to join the Navy?
Well, I always said ever since I was like little, like third grade, that I would. And then it's just I realized that when I got older and stuff that I was asking around, and just a lot of my family were just military, so I thought I should. I felt a little more obligated to do it.
So you kind of saw what it did for them, or was it
Mm.
more from like the service aspect out of obligation, or what kind of made you want to follow in their footsteps?
So a little bit more of just from every family member that I knew that was in the military, they said they had a good time and that it was a good initial step for them, a good platform, especially most majority of all of them did over 20 years. So all they knew was mostly military. But whenever they got out and everything, they said that they were more than capable to enjoy the regular civilian world. So
So like a good stepping stone
very good
for
stepping stone, yeah, for education and just like learning just a lot of things, different things for jobs, and you
awesome.
get a lot of opportunities in the military.
That's the way I kind of looked at it too. Is like I wanted to get that experience kind of early on of what it was like to kind of serve the country. But I knew I didn't want to do it forever, and so I think you're exactly right. Like it, whether you want to stay in for 20 years
Yeah,
or just do it for the minimum obligation, it's a good thing to be able to say, "Hey, I served this country. I know how to do certain things. I am skilled at these certain skill sets, and this is how it applies to the civilian world."
yeah, and it really creates like a lot of good habits, like good habits at least. So hopefully you stick
100%.
with them,
Yeah, if you can be
but
disciplined about it,
yeah, be
for sure.
disciplined about a lot of things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot
but
of development. I would
yeah, a lot
say
of development.
is,
Yeah.
they want to develop you as a leader, and I think that's one of the cool things is
Mm.
as you step through the ranks, you get more and more responsibility.
Yeah.
Thinking back to that 3-year-old self, you wanted to join the military, and as you're joining the military, how did you start learning about the various benefits you had access to? You talked about education,
Mm.
but on the housing side, how did you even learn that buying a house at 21 was possible?
So a majority of it is, as you may know, a lot of military members get married really, really early.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them at the times they'll just either um, already be having a certain like living aspect. So the people I work with, the majority of all married,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, just going to my command and being in San Diego and Florida, and majority of people I've seen that are either married or had couples or by themselves, um, just asking questions to a lot of higher rank, like different people. Um, like I said, majority of I got advice was from
Okay.
married military couples who needed to buy a house early on
Okay.
for starting families and all that kind of stuff, and it was easier for them to do that than having apartments and stuff.
So you were curious about it, and
Mm-hmm.
so I guess what made you in San Diego? That was your first duty station.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. What made you kind of want to buy a house here versus San Diego?
I got orders.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a choice.
Gotcha. So you got orders to Norfolk,
Mm.
and kind of what's going through your head when it comes to the actual PCS element? Like, are you thinking about I got to find a place to rent, or what's kind of like the mindset of?
So at first I was okay with just renting. Like my roommate and I, we basically stuck together through everything San Diego and Florida, and then we coincidentally got the same order. So I was like, if you want, we can roommate. It's better roommating with someone that you know than not knowing, especially because I got to know him for more than 3 years already. So we ended up getting an apartment, and now that we've been here for mostly a year, um, it was coming up on our lease, and so I was like, we could start looking for a different apartment, or we could just re up our lease. And I started thinking about it, and I was just talking to my coworkers, and they were like, like you could buy a house. And I didn't think. I was like, oh, I don't know. Like the aspect of how young I am came to mind, but then I'd be like, no, forget that. Like, I mean, yeah, that's even better that I'm younger. That I
Yeah.
start the house now if I want to. So started looking more into it, and then I decided I was like, hey, would you want with my roommate? I was like, would you rather me? I could just buy a house, and
Mhm.
if I had you as my roommate, still it'd be easier. If, he's like, so he was on board with it, and so from then, I just decided that I was wanting to buy a house over just an apartment because I started thinking that the apartment, there's no money going anywhere. to the apartment complex or any type of thing. But with the house, I can at least save up. It's the money's going somewhere and not just disappearing. It's going so towards the house mortgage and just paying it off and paying off something of mine instead of paying towards an apartment that's not mine after 6 months. So at least
Yeah,
my money's going somewhere.
that's great. So the equity element of
Mm-hmm.
being able to build equity was important to you.
Yeah, yeah. Especially because uh, being military, I want to make sure that being in the military for the time being is just uh, being smart with money decisions and everything like that. And I think buying the house was definitely a good decision than just my money disappearing towards an apartment. So I at least have already a big stepping stool with having somewhere to live.
Walk me through how you found out about VroomBrick.
Yeah. So when I was asking around work about how where I could start about any type of financial stuff. My lieutenant actually saw that I was on our Navy website of like our MyPay, which just shows a bunch of our pay and stuff, And I asked because I had a couple questions, and he was like, you know what, I know a guy. And he's like, so he sent me to a financial manager, which was First Command, and then he helped me with a bunch of different other stuff for financial advice. And then when I was making my decision whether or not to buy a house, I brought it up at our next meeting, and he was like, "Hey, I mean, if you do want to buy a house, I know a guy. His name is Justin, and he works for VroomBrick." And then he asked me if I didn't know what VroomBrick was or anything like that. And he explained what they were in the platform of how it was, and so yeah, I reached out to Justin, and then Justin was instantly able to get me started the next following couple days after that. So I was able to learn from them from First Command, basically. So.
The housing process can be a very daunting experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's different showings you're going on. There's different parts of the process. There's just a bunch of different real like steps. And so, can you talk a little bit about the platform itself and if it aided with that, or just talk about your experience going through those steps with the platform if you could.
Yeah, so I actually thought the platform was very well put together. It's kind of funny because, especially being IT, I work with different platforms and like dashboards and stuff. And I thought it was actually very easy to navigate. And your guys' communication is like phenomenal, very phenomenal of being able to get back to your clients and everything like that. Just the way that's laid out for step by step, the initial steps, and you guys are there to communicate at the same time, made it very easy.
What was that like when you went through kind of like those steps on the dashboard?
So the offer was pretty easy to work with. Well, when I first initially came here, looking at the house, I was like, you know what, I think this is it. This is the one. Reached out to you guys, and when I was on the initial step for any offer on any type of house, um, you guys were very, very quick with the offering um, anything that I was wanting to. You guys were very clear on how and what I can offer, and basically the clear rules of offering towards someone.
What was going through your head when you first got the keys? So you got through the paperwork. There's a bunch of things you have to sign, and then can you just describe that experience of closing on your first house at 21? Not many people can say they're a homeowner at your age.
Um, I was actually very happy. Like I was nervous and a little tired, but otherwise pretty much happy because um, just waited for the amount of time, just waiting to try to like find openings of from just work and everything like that to finally being able to basically a big stress reliever that just kind of just went away because having to deal with also trying to move out of the apartment on time and getting all the stuff to move and all just the timing to work out. It was just very stress relieving, and it was just nice because it's my house now.
Yeah,
But just getting the key was just like I don't know, it's just very satisfying, and yeah, it was nice.
that's awesome. Yeah. So if someone were to or if you heard about a friend buying or selling a house, would you recommend the VroomBrick platform to them?
Yeah, I actually already have. Yeah, I already have a few people in my department who was once I started talking about buying a house, they were like, "Really?" They would ask me about how's the house going, all that kind of stuff at work, and I'd just be explaining to them like, "It's pretty good. It's pretty easy with this, and like I only got this." And they're like, "Who are you going through?" And I would say VroomBrick, and they're pretty much very easy to work with, especially because I have no idea where to start with buying a house or the initial steps or going through it. And when I just explained that to them, they're like, "Oh, really?" So I've already had a few friends who were asking about it, so I preference VroomBrick. So
We appreciate that.
yeah.
Could you talk about just visually what that was like on the dashboard, if you could describe it to someone who knows nothing about it?
Yeah, so with dashboard, you can see all the people who you're working with in basically a tab of all the clients and stuff who are working together with your case and everything on the right corner, which also shows a notification. Anything, if you have any questions, there's a group chat that you're able to type in, just like regular typing on your phone, which also just goes to a regular notification or via email. Um, and then basically it's just they tell you initially there's the how many steps throughout it, the initial steps, and then um, throughout the platform, and it just has initial slides. It's just slides that just show you what step you're on, and if you click on the slides, you can always go back to them, making sure that you actually dropped off a document, or if you're wanting a copy of a document, you just go back to the initial document that you filled out or anything like that, and it just all stays. Basically, it's kind of like just folders. It's literally just folders that you open and making sure that you dropped off stuff in the folders.
Can you talk a little bit about the savings element? So typically people have to bring a down payment,
Yeah.
and then they have to bring closing costs. How did that work out for you?
So it worked out pretty well. I mean, I didn't really have to pay any closing costs pretty much at all. With using VroomBrick, they were very lenient on me because I was saving money, so it helped me in the end with communicating with the buyer and just helping me at all save money.
Tell me, because you had money saved up,
Mm-hmm.
and you were expecting to not have, or you were expecting to essentially use that for the down payment initially.
Yeah.
Now that you have, can you talk about how much you saved and then what you plan on doing with it now? It could be, saving.
Mm-hmm.
It could, like, it doesn't have to be some extravagant answer, but
Yeah.
if you could say how much you were able to save with the platform and why, and then what you plan to do with it.
Mm-hmm. So saved over 21,000, which initially I was from the addendums. It brought it a little bit more up of how much I saved because just the more time that we had to wait and everything for the buyer. But initially, I was going to be putting down if things came to like down to just like I didn't get to save the closing costs and I had to pay the appraisal back and all that kind of stuff. I was going to be paying around 1,800 for all closing for the companies and the appraisal and paying back the buyer and everything like that. But um, technology fee actually helped me out with not having to pay for that, and then also the appraisal came back well, and so I don't know. I was just ready because I knew I would have exactly enough for if it came down to having to pay all the closing costs. But I think just everything that just worked out. I don't think there was really high chance at all that I was going to have to pay out of pocket the majority of any money. So it was very easy to try to be comfortable knowing that.
So you're not going to turn around and buy a brand new Dodge Charger with the 21,000 in savings?
No. So right now I'm looking at just the majority of like maybe backyard stuff, like getting all that situated and um, mostly just the house essentials. I already got most of it. I got the couch, I got the dining room table, majority of the kitchen stuff, and it's just basically molding my house the way that I want it now that I have one. So
That's awesome.
Mostly just that. I'm pretty much good on anything else. I don't really need anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've been very satisfied. The only thing that's kind of cool, which I never thought I would really need, that's like more kind of cool, is just a PlayStation 5. Yeah. So
Heck yeah.
that's the only thing I've spent any of my money on besides a house.
I like it.
So